Alright everyone, welcome back. So, with a team clinching, there's obviously a team that gets eliminated. Oddly, they're in different conferences, but we'll ignore that. The Arizona Coyotes have been eliminated from the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs. This should not be a surprise to anyone. Yet again, another team that was expected to be eliminated this year and was not expected to make the playoffs. Now, the thing is with me is that this Coyotes team was supposed to definitely be, up there towards contending, not down this low, and they were. For the majority of the season, they were. Until they had that 14-game losing streak, they really were in contention for at least a wild card spot, but then it just fell off. They are 30, 37, and 5 for 65 points. They are 27th in the NHL. They have scored 213 goals and let in 236. They are 19, 17, and 0 at home, and they are 11, 20, and 5 on the road. So again, when you look at Arizona, they are a team that was wildly inconsistent this year. They were very inconsistent. One of the biggest things that I said in a lot of my Coyotes videos this season was that I need to see some consistency. And they showed me consistency, however, they lost 14 straight games. So it was kind of the complete opposite of the consistency that I wanted to see. But regardless, I guess it's the thought that counts. But, I mean, with this Coyotes team, though, I am impressed this year. I feel like they were taking steps and strides to be a better hockey team, and it shows that this team is not that far off. Even though they had that 14-game losing streak, even though they are out of the playoffs this early per se, it still shows volume how this team has come this far and has definitely become a much better roster since they started this rebuild. When you look at their leading scorers, you got Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller has 68 games played, 30 goals, 33 assists for 63 points with the Coyotes this season. He scored 400 career points. Is one of the best Coyotes in history now. There's no doubt about it. And with Arizona, Keller's that franchise cornerstone, I guess you could say. He's the player that they're building this team around. You can tell, bringing in guys like Logan Cooley, bringing in guys like Josh Doan, who scored 2 last night, bringing in other players who are going to become big-name guys on this roster. It shows they're building the core around Clayton Keller, and it's actually pretty exciting to see. The offense is very solid. I think the offense is much better than it's been in previous years. I mean, it's definitely a ways off from being a cup-contending offensive core. But for sure, when you look at Arizona, they got some good names. Like, Keller's the front-leading guy. You got Gunther. You got Cooley. You got other names there, too, like Schmaltz, Michelli, Carconi. There's many exciting names here on this Coyotes roster. And Keller is that cornerstone that they're building it around. So Keller, it's good to see him leading in scoring there. Second in scoring is Nick Schmaltz. Schmaltz was 69 games played, 20 goals, 32 assists for 52 points. Schmaltz this season has been very impressive. Again, a player that has been good so far. I actually thought he was going to get traded, but the Coyotes opted to keep him. That's not a bad thing, but I figured maybe, Schmaltz, when they get out of this rebuild, he may be out of his prime. But nope, they're keeping him throughout this Coyotes rebuild, so it's good to see there. And Schmaltz is having a pretty solid season for his standards. Third in scoring, Matias Michelli. Michelli, 72 games played, 12 goals, 36 assists for 48 points. Michelli kind of avoiding that sophomore slump. We see a lot of players have a pretty bad sophomore season and slump hard. We have not seen that for Michelli so far, so it's good to see there that Michelli's playing well. Obviously, the scoring has been lacking a little bit, but he's racking up enough assists to keep him up there. So Michelli having a good season here so far. Nick Bjugstad is actually 4th in scoring. I thought he's had a very impressive season as well. Bjugstad, 71 games played, 19 goals, 22 assists, 41 points there for the Coyotes. Another player who, when you look at his numbers, he hasn't had numbers this good since his days 6 or 7 years ago. It's been a while since we've seen Bjugstad put up numbers like this. And I'm actually kind of shocked they kept him in Arizona. In previous years, they've traded him, but nope, they kept him in Arizona this year. So it shows that they want to keep Bjugstad as that 4th liner, as that 3rd line grinder, maybe when this team comes out of this rebuild. But as of right now, Bjugstad's obviously not doing too shabby, providing some good secondary scoring with 41 points. And then Alex Kerfoot is 5th in scoring with 72 games played, 11 goals, 27 assists for 38 points here. with the Coyotes. Kerfoot was obviously a offseason acquisition, as were Bukestad, but Bukestad was on the team prior to that. But Kerfoot looking good this year. I thought they might trade him, but nope, they're keeping him on the Coyotes roster, so it's impressive to see there that he's playing well, and it's good to see there that they got some secondary scoring. And maybe if this team is not in a playoff spot next season, which I don't envision they will be, I don't think the expectation is for them to make the playoffs, but if this team is not in a playoff spot, Kerfoot could be a player that does get moved. But regardless, Kerfoot looked good this year for Arizona for sure and definitely deserves some credit. So yeah, there are other guys who have looked good. Barrett Haynes looked solid, even though there's been some struggles there. Cooley, even though he's not on the list here, he's been a good forward. Obviously, too, there's also Dylan Gunther. There's also Michael Carcone, who looked impressive. But there's a lot of things to look at here when you look at Arizona. And when we get into our 2024 reviews, Arizona will be one of the more recent ones that we do because obviously they're towards the bottom of the NHL standings. But for sure, when I look at that team, their whole blue line's expiring, essentially. So they have an opportunity here to revamp their entire blue line once again. So we'll see there what happens there, but obviously you want to see this team make progress, and I feel like in the offseason, coming with their defense, they could make some moves to acquire a big name defenseman, because when you look at their scores, you have only forwards there. Your best defenseman, Sean Durzi, so you're going to need to do better than that. No disrespect to Sean Durzi, but you're going to need to do better than that. Excuse me, if you want to keep growing on and keep developing in this rebuild. So you look at your goalies. The goalies have been impressive this year. I've really enjoyed the goalies. You got Connor Ingram. Ingram's 19-19-3, a 2.87, a .908. His numbers have gotten much worse since the 14-game losing streak, but prior to that, his numbers were amazing. I believe he's tied in the league lead for shutouts. He has been amazing for Arizona and was a big part in why this Coyotes team, when I made a video on them, and I think it was January when they were doing pretty good, when I made that video, I said that Ingram has played a huge role in why this Coyotes team has been this consistent through that stretch of the season. Obviously, it's fallen off since then, but Ingram's numbers before the 14-game losing streak looked very positive, as did a lot of the numbers in Arizona. I mean, a lot of the numbers for the Coyotes were pretty solid before that 14-game losing streak. It's shocking what a 14-game losing streak will do to you. I feel like I've said 14-game losing streak 1,000 times in this video, but regardless, Kirill Vizhmelka, your backup goalie. Vizhmelka, 11-17-2, a 3.24 and a .902. Veggie looked a little bit at the start of the season, but has gotten better since then. There were rumors that he was going to get traded. Obviously, that never happened, so the intentions were to keep Vizhmelka in Arizona, and he's shown that he does want to stay with the Coyotes. He does want to be an Arizona Coyote. But yeah, definitely the goaltending has been better than it has been in previous years. So I know I haven't gone into it. I know I haven't made videos on it. I probably will make a video on it at some point. It's just been so busy with the playoffs that it might be a weekend video this weekend if no teams clinch. I do want to talk about their arena situation. I know it's something that I've made plenty of videos on. The Coyotes fans are tired of hearing it, but it is a video that does need to be made. So I will probably end up making that video soon. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Arizona is eliminated from the playoffs. Of course, as I said, it's not surprising. This team is still making steps towards the development and the rebuild. But since they started this rebuild 3 years ago, at this point, they have looked much better. And I think that maybe you have one more year of being close but not making it. And then you start making it in the next couple of years. And hopefully this team will stay in Arizona. But regardless, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate it. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the 2024 playoffs. So if you could subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.